All right, today we're going to be adjusting valves on a Honda Rancher 420. This is the electric shift, but that part of it doesn't matter. Foot shift, automatic for different years. They're all going to be the same. The specs on this model are intake 0.006 inches and exhaust is 0.009 inches. Now, you're going to need a couple tools for this project, and obviously you don't have to pull this motor to do this. Valve adjustment, we had the motor pulled for other reasons. I just thought I'd show you how to do a valve adjustment quick. You're gonna need feeler gauges, looks like this. There's two feeler gauges that you need in particular, but generally you sell them as a set. You got all different sizes there. You're gonna want a 17 millimeter socket there and a 15/16 wrench. You can maybe be able to use crescent wrench. You're gonna need a 6 millimeter Allen wrench, 10 millimeter wrench, and a small flat screwdriver. First thing we're gonna do is find top dead center. There's three, and I'll show you this at the end of the video. There's 3 bolts on this, where this recoil pull starter would be. If you're on your four-wheeler, it'd be by your left foot. More specifically, your left toe, and then you're gonna look right inside there, and there's gonna be 3 10 millimeter bolts that hold a cover on. You're gonna pull these bolts, and there's gonna be an O-ring on the inside. You wanna make sure that that goes back on there. Keep that all together as you do that. And then next, you're gonna have your 6 millimeter Allen, and that's gonna go over here. It's gonna have a plug. That's gonna be for a plug that's over here, and that's gonna be what they call the sight window. And that's just a little plug there. You're gonna look down there to find top dead center. Next thing you're gonna do is take your 17 millimeter socket here and turn your motor. This is actually your crankshaft bolt here. You're gonna turn that motor clockwise. You don't wanna go counterclockwise. That's not the direction your motor spins. So go clockwise, and you'll see an F, and then about an inch later through your sight glass there, you'll see a T. And you wanna line it up with the T. Now there's 2 different strokes that you can be on for top dead center. One's firing and the other one's compression. You want to be where your camshaft, your lobes are in a position where your valves are the loosest. So if your motor's running okay, what I would do is pull these caps, two 15/16 caps, pull them off, intake here, exhaust here. Now a good quick way to see if you're on top dead center, the correct stroke, turn that all the way around, and if you've got movement on both of these rockers, then you are in the right place, as long as the T is in the correct position in this window here. If one of them's tight, or they're both tight, then you're not on the right stroke. So that's just a quick, easy way to find top dead center and know that you're on the right stroke. Top dead center on the stroke that you want it to be on to adjust valves is the loosest possible between your rockers and your camshaft. So that's why there's going to be movement here. If you're not on the right stroke, you're going to have one lobe that's down, or one lobe that's pushing against your rocker, and that is not the right position. So we know from those measurements that I showed you earlier that intake's going to be 0.006. We got our 0.006 feeler gauge. This can be plus or minus 1, but since we're doing it, we may as well just line it up correctly. So these are loose right now. So I'm going to take this now, as long as I'm on top dead center, so the T is lined up. Take that, loosen up with that 10 millimeter. I stick this feeler gauge underneath of it, and then tighten this down slightly until there's a little bit of drag on this feeler gauge. You don't want too much to where you can't even pull it back and forth, but you want to make sure there is drag. Now what I do, leave that feeler gauge in there, then take this lock nut, get it to where it needs to be. I just turn that adjusting screw here. Okay, now, and so that that adjusting screw doesn't move, I'll take and leave my screwdriver there, and I will turn this lock nut and put it into place. Still gonna want to take and check that before we're finished, but as long as there's some drag, that's exactly where you need to be. The way you can test it is to take next size bigger, see if you can fit it in there. If you can, then you may be too loose. If you can fit it in there and it's extremely tight, then you're probably where you need to be. You're going to want to do the exact same for the exhaust side, and that's 0.009 inches. So find that on your feeler gauges. And there's, oh, that's 0.006. And there's 9 there. Do the exact same process over here. Stick your feeler gauge in there. We might be, yep, that's gonna be where we need to be at on this one. So there's a little bit of drag, but not too terrible much. Take it out of there, and we know where we need to be. Now what I like to do then is you can take and turn this motor over 2 rotations until you find top dead center again. Line the T up again. I like to double check them, just to make sure that we're in the right spot. You wouldn't need to do that if you're confident in your work, but sometimes I just do that just to make sure that everything's in place. We're not gonna have any valves hitting or cause any damage. I'm gonna put that cover back on there with the 10mm bolts. Make sure that O-ring is in the right place, like I said earlier. And then we're gonna take and put that sight glass, you know what, I was gonna show you that. Put that sight glass where it needs to be. And I'm gonna try to show you that T mark on this. And I have a light here to hopefully, so you can see it, but might still be too dark. And there's the T. You'll first come up with an F, and I'm not exactly lined up there. There's the T there. Like I said, first you'll have an F, and then you'll have a T about an inch later. So that is how to adjust valves on a Honda 420 motor.